This is a public service announcement. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are for comedy purposes only and should not be taken seriously. The Never a Straight Answer podcast advised that the information covered in the show should not be used for educational purposes, nor as a guide for carrying out such crimes linked to the subject matter of the episode, no matter how fucking awesome it is. Gaz and Taylor do not take responsibility for the following: UFO encounters or possible linked abductions, committing or being a victim of serial murder, falling down conspiracy rabbit holes, fits of psychotic rage, anger or confusion, or going postal on friends, family or co-workers. The boys advise the use of THC or edibles when subjected to the Never a Straight Answer podcast. We hope you enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to another episode of Never a Straight Answer, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joined in the studio, the original 404 error. He's twitchy, he's glitchy, he's Mr. Taylor.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening, good evening. You alright?
Yeah, man. Super good. Super good.
Yeah, man.
It's been a week, which is a lot quicker than the last time we left you, which was a fucking long time.
Yeah,
a couple of weeks. Come on.
Yeah.
So we're back in full swing.
We are.
Make sure you get over and subscribe and check out the last week's episode because it was a decent episode. Big thank you to Arjun for joining us.
Yes.
Talking about history stuff, conspiracies. Is history accurate at all? Do we believe it? What do you reckon?
Well, no, because you can't put it. No, because it keeps changing.
History
History always keeps changing, and we've still got the thing of the winners always write their history, losers don't. Then we find the losers counts to it. Then we add that to it. Then everything's getting muddled up. I don't think
a little bit muddled up. Well, I mean, talking about history today, 4th of July, Happy Independence Day.
Yeah, Independent.
That great movie.
Yeah. And number 2.
We will not go quietly into the night.
Nope.
No, it's a great speech, that, mate.
Yeah.
It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it, I'll be honest.
Does it?
Yeah, he's top, mate. Honestly.
It's a good speech, but, like...
Hey, do you know what? I bet these presidents out there going, I wish I had that speech.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not being joking, but yeah, happy 4th of July, and happy Independence Day too. We don't think you're traitors.
Nope.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Do you know what I mean? You go ahead, do your own thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we salute you for it. Another big day in history this week.
Oh.
Great Scott. It was Back to the Future Day yesterday on the 1st. I think it was the 1st, yeah. 35 years anniversary of the movie. One of my faves as well.
Jesus. You won't think that.
35 years.
35
I think
years,
I went
man.
to one of the screenings at the 25-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
And it was basically they put the original screening on at the cinema.
Yeah.
So it was the version where there was no kind of lead up to the sequel at the end.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like there was no kind of Biff coming out going, oh my God, a flying DeLorean. There was none of that. It was just done. Yeah,
done, dusted, forget about it.
But it was good
to
watch it at the cinema.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm assuming
films,
that they did stuff along those lines this time around, because obviously it's a great experience to see.
Yeah.
And which is a shame at the moment as well, because cinemas aren't really doing all that well.
Well, that's true. A lot of companies ain't doing well, but yeah, especially cinemas or places that like filling up with people.
Filling up.
Yeah.
Well,
but what's going to happen for the future of that? Because it's
well, there's been a lot of drive-through stuff. I mean, we never picked up on the whole drive-through thing in the UK up until now, and now there's been a whole kind of an idea of, how do we bring people back to the cinema? Drive-throughs seem like a good option, and like even Stormzy has been on the news recently talking about how they're going to be doing shows across the UK in a drive-through format as well. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a good idea, man.
I mean, other than that, it's I think it's whatever you can do to try and bring business back and try and
this is it.
But this is it. I mean, another big day today. It's been the easing of the lockdown rules here in the UK, in pubs and bars, barbers, and other businesses have been able to reopen. Again, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it too early?
Yeah, too early, I think, man. Yeah, I think London's already on the right.
They've actually, I mean, as far as I was going to say, it was peaking over 1 when I had a look today.
You reckon 2.6 in about 2 weeks?
I reckon it's going to go up. And I think they knew this, and I think they do know this. So
but it's getting that counterbalancing. It's getting that balance between getting people working.
I'm not being
and
funny.
Keeping them safe.
I mean, it just looks boring as fuck in these pubs. I mean, people have been posting tweets today about having a social distance pint.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look very appealing. It just looks like you've taken all the fun about and the social side of going to the pub away.
Yeah.
And I said this earlier. I mean, Eddie Izzard, I think it was who did this. Like, when they took the smoking ban, they said he went, no smoking in pubs now. Soon, no talking and no drinking. And it's getting that way, isn't it?
That way.
And
Big Brother's watching you, man.
Yeah. Well, another thing we could go into a bit more in the news, but there was a bit of news about a leaked document that basically said that they were going to take away non-essential education from schools, i.e. drama, music, arts, to try and get everyone caught back up. I think that's a bit of a it makes it a bit more of a,
I don't think
a drag. I think these classes are what kids, go to school for in a lot of respects. There's a lot of kids who rely on it.
There first, but
totally agree. But I mean, have a bit more focus on it, but don't cut it out altogether.
But you could do a separate
that.
section of that after school. Kids who really want it. I mean, a lot of them won't because, after school they want to fuck off and play. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends what you're into, isn't it? If you've got a passion about these types of things,
you've got to do something. It's like taking away. It's like taking away the parks and like the places for kids to roam at. He throws them on the street.
This is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's like you've got to kind of draw the line somewhere. I mean, we appreciate that you need to catch up the kids, but don't be taking away all the joys out of life just to try and build the economy back up. And it's like putting people at unnecessary risk.
Yeah,
you're opening the borders and saying that there's these countries that you're allowed to go to. When I'm not being funny, when we originally went into this crisis, we turned around and said, when the government basically did that initial trace to see where these infections came into the UK, there was 1,200 and some individual cases, and they were all coming in from countries like France, Italy, and Spain, these types of countries, and that was 1,200 and odd cases. But now all of a sudden, these are the countries that are being put on a corridor
to open up, and you don't have to.
We're allowing you to go to Spain. We're allowing you to go to Italy. We're allowing you to go to France. It's like, well, I'm not
no
being
quarantine.
Funny. Oh, it's a bit much too soon, and maybe we could go into a bit more anyway. What have you been up to this week?
They are just researching into different stuff. In fact,
different stuff sounds intriguing, dude. Come on, fill us in. Because I know there's been a load of, and every time I've spoke to you this week or whatever, say what you're up to, you goes, I'm just going through some documents, and now I'm assuming these are
WikiLeaks documents, and there's a lot of stuff been happening.
Well, you've sent me a few bits, but again, I don't want to go too much into those just yet because there needs to be a bit more information come out about it yet. But intrigued, and you should be, and we'll cover a bit more as it progresses
later on.
But other than that, so is that all you've been doing? I've been watching a bit of watching a few series really this week. Finally caught up on Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right, you finally got hold of that then.
Yeah, man, it was annoying me because the first episode was disappeared everywhere I went. So it was like, so it was just like, I'm not going to start it at episode 2, especially since it seems like there's a bit of a big twist in the story, because that's what Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. manages to do. They change up the series every season, don't they?
Yeah, they always got
it's always a new sort of setting or a new sort of way of delivering the show.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to start it at episode 2, so it took me a while to get going on it, and caught up now. Really good, interested to see what they do.
What episode are we on now then?
I think episode 6 coming into mid-season break,
So
so
I've
I'm
missed
assuming
2.
that the new one will be available at some point.
Oh, good.
Going towards the end of
I've got to find it
end
again.
of summer.
I've definitely got to find it again.
Definitely. Sorry,
Yeah.
having a big slurp in my drink. Well, what have we got coming up on the show tonight? Well,
Ooh.
tonight we're going to be talking glitches in the Matrix, Déjàvu,
Yes.
precognition. We'll have a look at the science and a few glitchy stories that might creep you the fuck out too.
Oh, not too much.
Only a
Don't
little
want
bit.
to change my underwear again.
Don't fucking hell, man. You aren't going to have to start leaving some spares.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, aren't I?
Yeah, well.
I'm a leaky boy.
Well, that's all to come later on in the show. I mean, I put it to Twitter about kind of, has anybody had any glitchy stories of their own?
Oh, yeah.
And we just had people coming back going, yeah, deja vu. Yeah, not really elaborating, just basically
just
going,
saying
oh, I've
deja
had a
vu.
bit of deja vu. It's like,
I've had deja vu.
apart from Gareth, Mr. Gareth, who came over and said, haven't you already done this episode?
Right,
And,
have we done one on deja vu?
No, we haven't.
We haven't.
No, I think
You
he was
sure?
taking the piss. That's
You
it.
sure?
He must have had
I'm getting a bit of deja vu,
That's
ain't
what I
I?
mean. Yeah, well, all that yet to come.
Yeah,
on
and
Never
more.
a Straight Answer. But first, we return with the award-winning Everybody Loves segment.
Oh, yeah.
What's fucked
Can't
up?
stop raving about it, man.
Where you're from.
Yes.
Well, we did have a jingle, but we lost that shit now.
Yeah.
Anyway, this week we're
Yes.
travelling all the way to Switzerland.
Oh, the Swiss.
At
nice.
the request of James S, who simply wrote, "Hi, Never a Straight Answer. I'm from Switzerland, and what's fucked up where I'm from is Switzerland. In Switzerland, it's against the law to flush your toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment building.
That's wrong, man. What's going on? What? So you got to go, if you want to squat, you've got to go out the front door,
Gotta
drop
go-
it out there, and then go
Take
back
your
up.
shovel, get outside,
Hey, yes, snow hiding.
or if it's you can't even
don't
go
say-
by the rule of if it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Just don't eat that yellow snow
Well-
or the brown snow.
That's the most fucked up thing going on in Switzerland, and it's not because I checked.
Yeah.
There's the Bagazi or the Bagazi.
The Bagazi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, if you've ever had the misfortune of being close up and personal with an avalanche, you might see this white creature with massive feet surfing down the crest of the snowy wave.
What? It's a
Yeah.
creature?
At least that's what the Swiss locals will tell you.
Okay.
It's said to be like a creature, and they call it the Barbagaze.
The barb.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
They say it's not unlike a dwarf or gnome.
I was thinking more Yeti. But
Well,
it's
it's
small.
small,
It's
yeah,
a small
yeah.
little creature.
And it lives in the mountain and skis up and down using its
And
big
skis up and
yeah,
down.
using its big feet.
What the?
Yeah, they said that
Nah, that's got to be a guy dressed up.
they've said they'd be quite mellow. They're not very dangerous. In fact, rather helpful to lost humans. So if you ever get lost on a mountain and you see a big gazelle, I'm probably not saying that right. Is it Barbagaza or Barbagazi? Yeah. Swedish, innit?
Well,
So,
yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Another
before.
local folklore is the Devil's Bridge.
Oh, Devil's Got Bridge over there
Right.
as well.
This bridge is fucked up, mate. Have you ever seen like one of those Escher paintings where it's all like the stairs are all going up, you don't know which way's up?
Oh,
down?
yeah.
It's kind of like that, right?
Okay.
And the story behind it goes, for some reason, the people of Uri decided to hire the devil to help build this tricky bridge. Right. Apparently, they were unaware that the craftsman had basically diddled them, and he said that he would have the soul of the first person or first thing to cross it. Right.
Okay, yeah.
So the villagers, thinking on the feet, they sent a goat.
Good idea.
Right.
Some smart ass there.
Sent a goat over it, but it's like basically the devil was fucking pissed off with this, and
Why the goats like the devil
what?
kind of thing? The worshipping goats to do with devil worship.
Well, he ended up getting annoyed and charged off.
Charged off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because he got bested, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically dropped a boulder into the gorge, where it's still visible today. And everyone else lived happily ever after, apart from the goat, which is sadly never recovered from
Never
the
recovered,
devil.
still stood there waiting.
So, last thing in the What's Fucked Up Where You're From this week is the most haunted building in Switzerland.
Oh, yeah, they must have a couple over there.
This is the Jolla House.
Okay.
Right. So, the Swiss embrace Halloween, and they basically reckon that this is the most haunted house, and every year they make a big fuss of it.
Yeah.
So it's basically the house stood up until 2010, and then it was torn down because no one was brave enough to go in and live there.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's actually go on the Google.
Yeah.
And have a look for
the
it.
Google.
You'll find a photo of it. But yeah, this house was so haunted, it was left abandoned for so long that they were forced to just tear it down.
Oh, shit.
Because everyone was too pussy to sit there, live there.
Chicken.
If they give it you for free, would you live there?
You know what? If I could live there for free, I'd probably live there for a little bit and then flog it.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that was it. Nobody wanted to buy it. That's the difference.
Yeah, but then, you buy it to someone who doesn't understand what's gone on there, and then you run with the cash. You leg it.
Give it to a Muppet.
Yeah. Muppet wants to buy it. Go ahead. Yeah, it's the best thing. Elvis used to live here. Yeah, and then,
there you go.
can make some shit up. But then I might find out.
Do you know what? Actually, no, because there's actually a market for this type of stuff. I don't understand why people have such a hard time selling murder houses, because you know what I mean? There's actually a TV show in the States, like a property developing show, where they will try and sell you a murder house. And people are fucking
never sold me a murder house.
Because at the end of the day, you've got all this backstory attached to your house. It's like, I mean, I like a house with character.
Yeah.
But, if I walked in and someone went, there was 12 murders committed here, I'd be like, was there really?
But would you stay there?
Yeah, it's not like they're going to come back and murder me.
What if they come back and haunted
what's
you?
the chance of lightning striking twice? We don't live in a poltergeist movie fantasy world. Do you know what I mean?
True. That's true. I
mean, unless you want to start believing in all that. But, I mean, it's like...
Well, yeah. Well, things might start happening in the house where you're like, hey, you send murdered people, right? Pack it in. And,
Would you buy a murder house? Let us know in the comments. Yeah. We'd love to know. And if you want to get involved in What's Fucked Up Where You're From, all you need to do is send us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. Or visit the website and send us a message through there, and you can be involved. Tell us where you're from and an interesting fact about your town or place of origin.
Yeah,
and we'll do a bit of research into other myths and legends going on in your area. So
Sweden.
Cheers, Sweden. We've never had we've covered pretty much Sweden there, haven't we? I mean, it's like not like a town in Sweden, but I just thought, he didn't elaborate.
Yeah.
James.
So you had to look all over, and these are the bits.
Cheers for getting involved.
Yeah.
And, thanks, man. Keep listening. I was really surprised, actually, considering it's like, we've had some listeners worldwide.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's always nice when you find someone totally random. Like, it's nice when they notice we chart on charts in, like, Singapore or something.
Yeah.
And I always think, is that just a lone backpacker?
Who's
just like downloaded it once.
As he's walking by,
cropped up in the charts over there.
Yeah, it's got to be more. We've got more love out there.
Oh yeah, well I know we've got big love.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on to this week's main topic.
Oh yes.
I mean, it feels like we're swiftly moving on tonight, but it's all good because we've got quite a lot of news, and it's quite an interesting topic this as well.
That's true.
So
that's true.
What do you know? What have you had any experiences with, like Dejavu or glitches in the Matrix or anything like that? Go on, give us. I've had one as well, and we'll start. All right, we'll start on our own personal experiences.
Go on then.
No, you go go first. Yeah.
All right then. Well, I in my younger days, not that long ago,
back in the day,
cheeky bastard.
Yeah.
I used to have them like constantly, proper constantly. I remember the biggest one, I think, was when I walked into a college, sat down, was speaking to some people about something going on the computer.
Right.
And then, like, the very next day, everything in place, including words. Everything was in place, and it was like I ended up just jumping back, going, "What the fuck's just happened?"
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because you're acknowledging, so you've already changed it. Yeah, and if you've already seen that happen, and that was precognition, for instance, right. By acknowledging the fact that you've witnessed a change, then you've changed it. You've it's not like a prediction of the future, because in the prediction you made, you didn't go, "Oh shit, I've done this before." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's almost like you're disrupting what's supposed to happen. If it's fate and if it's precognition and you've kind of had a glimpse of the future, by acknowledging it and accepting it as, "Oh mate, I've done. Wait a minute, or stopping in your tracks, you're almost kind of ruining that moment that was supposed to play out, as far as Or
I think that's true.
Do you know what I mean? By even just acknowledging it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where I'm going with this.
Or could it
correct me if I'm wrong?
Actually, you going down. Well, I didn't want to go down this road, but in a time travel, going down that road, and
that's what I'm saying. It's like a prediction of the future, isn't it? Do you think that it's a version of what's the word now? Do you know, we've talked about this on the show before, astral projection. In terms of, like, I had a dream, and we were talking about this earlier. I said, I had a really vivid dream, and you said, "Are you sure you weren't astral projected or like astral traveling?" I was like, maybe, but it's like one of those where it's like,
sounded like it to me.
If you having a deja vu moment, is that your unconscious mind seeing something in the future, or is it your unconscious mind just putting together a load of higgledy-piggledy things into a thing that you'll understand, and all of a sudden it's just like, "Oh shit, have I done this before?" Because your brain's just
but surely your brain must know that you're going to question yourself when this particular thing happens.
Granville.
Surely your brain must know you that much, that your unconscious knows you that much, that it should tell that when no
one knows me better, baby.
You will find there's a reason why you actually remember that. There must be a reason behind it.
I've had several deja vu experiences that I thought were too much of a coincidence, or I felt too much of a feeling where I felt like I've been there before or been through this certain situation before. But in both situations, they were both very kind of like loose approximations of what the original premonition was. So like,
it was
for
slightly
instance,
changed.
It was a lot less. Yeah, in the premonition or the dream or whatever, it was much grander. It was shinier. It had a lot more going for it. Whereas when it actually happened and I got the feeling of deja vu, it was scaled down. It was just normal life. Yeah. So this is the story that happened. Was basically, I've said this on the show before, I was basically felt like I was in a cinema or like a big movie theater.
Okay.
So you know what they're like. It's all red velvet and gold.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so I'm sat in these red velvet chairs, and beside me are two people I've never met before, a boy and a girl, right? Now, I'm only about 8 or 9 years old, right? And about a year later, we go on a holiday, and there's an excursion to a dinosaur park, right? Go and see all these big statues of dinosaurs, bones, and all the rest of it. So we go in, and they put me, this boy and this girl, in this little movie theater, right? And it was literally, the whole experience was that experience, but just scaled down. It wasn't as grand. It weren't happening. All the elements were there, but it wasn't as, as I pictured it in this dream. Do you know what I mean?
But
so I think it's all
together. That was the sequence.
It's not. It was the case that I've probably had the dream, and then later down the line, situations occurred that was very similar, and my brain's just connected dots and gone, that's like that dream you had that one time.
We are designed to try and connect things together.
And exactly. So potentially it's just a case that my brain's twigging to something that subconsciously and going, remember, that's like that dream you had one time. But because most people don't, look, how often do you remember your dreams, honestly?
Well, we've gone through this. It works out you only remember about in the first 10 minutes. That's you remember a majority of it. After that, you don't remember a lot of it.
So I reckon you do, but it takes something in your subconscious.
Yeah, and that's true.
Well, think about it this way: most dreams, they say, are fantastic, and can take you out of the mundane and make things really amazing and fantastical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but have you ever done
isn't that the sort of thing that your subconscious would want to remember?
Well, yeah, your subconscious is a clever little thing, and the thing is, have you ever had deja vu and you knew it was deja vu, but you disregarded it?
Yeah, loads of times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, deja vu, where does it come from? It's a French word.
Yes,
meaning. I'll get to that in a minute. It's the feeling that one has lived through a situation before.
Yeah.
The phrase translates literally as already seen.
Yeah.
There you go. So, although some interpretations of deja vu come across as paranormal in context, the mainstream scientific approach basically rejects that. Doesn't really come down to precognition or prophecy, rather than explains it in the feeling as one that's lived through, a situation before. And it's actually kind of comes down to a lot of different factors. There's a load of medical illnesses and, basically situations you can find yourself in that can bring it on or has a side effect of.
Yeah, stress.
Stress is a motherfucker, man.
Even bipolar.
Yeah. Well, basically, there was one article I was reading saying it's related to epileptic electrical discharge in the brain, creating a strong sensation that an event or an experience currently being, or currently happening, has already been or already happened in the past.
Yeah, but I also see.
So it's like a chemical
misfire.
Exactly, like a chemical brain imbalance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The chemicals would definitely have some kind of change, and plus, some people have it in the younger days and don't have it later on. But then again, you have the reverse as well.
Well, migraines have also been associated with deja vu. And earlier researchers tried to establish a link between deja vu and mental disorders such as anxiety disorder and identity disorder, schizophrenia, but failed to find any connection and no scientific or diagnostic value. No special associations have ever been found between deja vu and schizophrenia. And in 2008, a study found that deja vu experiences were unlikely to be pathological, despite experiences related or being people who suffer from these conditions.
Funny you should say anxiety, actually, because it turns out that a majority of the men who
is that
have
not just
anxiety,
worry? Is that not just worry about stuff though? People
are
just worrying.
It's sort of stress and different chemical.
But then you could argue that that's like a precognition then, because it's like the more you worry about a certain thing happening and then it does happen, then you're gonna, I told you that was gonna happen. Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah, but it's a protection from like your brain. Your brain telling you in your dream that you're going to have this. Whatever happens, everything will be okay, and it's sort of showing you the storyline before your next travel through the Matrix, I suppose.
In the Matrix. Well, that comes on to the next thing. I mean, do you think deja vu is as described by Trinity and the gang and Neo?
Yes.
As we've discussed how we living in a Matrix in an episode previous.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the stance on that? I mean, I don't buy it, to be honest. Are we living in a computer generated program? Now, the idea, right? Now, in one respect, I do can throw this out there.
Yeah.
That your brain's the most complex computer going.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you're decoding information. Light bounces off an object.
Yeah.
Your brain decodes it as table, chair, TV.
Yeah, and it only
whatever.
takes 22% of that. The rest of it isn't thrown into your brain because it needs the room.
I mean, just the simple act of that processor being involved kind of it's a perception of a world, how your brain interprets it.
Yeah.
So
it's all down to your brain. You see
on a chemical level, you could argue that it is all a projection or mental projection of, thingy. But the thing is, we've all got each other to back each other up. So what I say is a table you can agree on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you couldn't agree on something. Let's say the colour orange or red, because red used to be orange used to be called
I've actually
red.
had this argument with you so many times. He goes, "Do you like?" I say, "Do you like that red colour?" And he goes, "That's orange." You'd be like, "Fuck you, that's red."
But
no, it's not. It's orange.
It turns out
that you're colourblind.
Well, no, it turns out when you look at like a red,
and
I look at the same red as you will be seeing it slightly different.
Right, okay.
Not all the way, but slightly different. But everyone has their own interpretation because it's what their brain is interpreting what is there.
Well,
so it doesn't necessarily have to be in a sort of weird way not there. It's just your brain saying that. You say, well, if that's true, I'm looking at the wall now and I'm thinking $1 million.
For what?
Gold. Give me some gold bar.
He's gone totally off topic again. He's gone, give me the gold.
Give me the gold.
I got my Houston dance on. He's dancing around the room like jig on. Right, some researchers, though, have looked into the genetics in terms of deja vu and precognition type shit. Although there's no current, genetic association.
No.
Right? They reckon that the chromosome 10 has a possible link to certain forms of mild epilepsy. And basically through these sort of tests, they're kind of saying that patients have had strong deja vu, and it often occurs during or just before seizures. So
see,
is there some sort of medical link to why this happens, or is it just like you say? Is it?
Misfire
we're talking, like you say, a glitch. Yeah. Now the definition of a glitch is just something kicking out, turning off and on quick.
Yeah.
Do you know, not responding as intended. Do you know
stop
what I mean?
Electrical pulse done.
Yeah.
Or start electrical pulse.
So could it be like when you say, it's how you define your terms, really, isn't it? A glitch in the matrix, a deja vu moment.
Yeah.
Could it stacks up in both terms of the meaning, doesn't it? If you want to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole of obviously, it could be this whole world that's been created to keep us all in line, blah de blah. Or you could say, well, no, it's a glitch in the system. It's a glitch in your brain misfiring, and you're remembering a flash of something that maybe was once remembered, once experienced in a dream or otherwise, but all of a sudden you're put in a position where you're thinking, this has happened before.
Now, you've just made me think of something.
That's what I'm here for, making you think, bruv.
About shell shock.
Go on.
Well, it's sort of
reliving past the experiences
same thing over and over again, and the connection between that and deja vu and the glitches in there.
Yeah.
Possible connection between them all, because at the end of the day, it's to do with the environment, your brain, the chemicals that are going on in your body, the chemicals that you're absorbing, and the chemicals that you shouldn't be absorbing.
Well, this is the thing as well, because looking into this, I found that there's certain drugs that increase your chances of deja vu. Talking about chemicals and imbalances and stuff like that. So these are drugs that you can take. It'll increase the chances of deja vu occurring in users. And give them a very strong sensation of deja vu.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's deja vu.
Well, no, of course it's not. It's like just a sense of it, isn't it? It's like having a sense of something. It's like, my spidey senses are tingling. Well, what is it? What is it that you're getting? It's like, well, I don't really know.
Well, you know what? That's exactly what... funny enough, that's exactly what I was going to say, because most of the time, most people, when they get a certain sense, they don't understand what that sense is telling them, or what's it about.
Well, some pharmaceutical drugs, when taken together, have also basically had this effect and caused deja vu. Is it trimine and GILS killing.
Fucking hell, there's a lot of A's in there.
Report, I know, yeah, a couple of J's and a couple of A's and a ski. Yeah, it's
there's definitely a ski.
It's a very Swiss episode.
Yeah, it is actually.
And this is sponsored by Chocolate and Watches. Hang on. So, where was I up to? So taking them together, obviously give you a strong sense of deja vu. These were basically flu medicines, and they would get taken for flu symptoms. And he found to experience interesting side effects. Once he'd had the full course of treatment, he reported the psychological he did a psychological write-up.
Right, okay.
And basically put this down to these two drugs taken in combination.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well.
It's weird, though. It's like the sense... It's funny that, you can turn around and say the sense of something.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't really tell you anything. Like I said earlier, it's like if it's a precognition or a premonition, then, it's too late because you only realise in the moment. It's not like they're giving you vital information that you can carry forward and do something about. And then when you do arrive at that moment, most of the time you fuck it up because you say, "Oh, I've done this before."
Yeah, but that's the thing that gets me. That
if you were
your
trying
brain's
to get
telling
to
you
this
that it's
vital
done
moment,
this before.
Yeah, but you haven't.
Yeah, but you might have, because if everything's been put in the perfect position, how do you know?
Well, past life, you could argue that it's past life.
Past life doing exactly the same thing. Like I walk in here, sit down, have a sip of my brew. Tomorrow you wake up and you remember
decade, like in a totally different, like,
Yeah, but like when
how do you know that all people out there aren't just recycled? Do you know the population as we know it, and
reborn again
and again.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
The same
that
person
say stuff about the past, though, but not right now.
Well, no, but I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like you could have just lived that moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, again, if you could argue. This is going way out there now because this episode already is a lot of going on. But
yeah.
Like if you wanted to go down the many worlds stacked up universes where every day you take a different decision, then there could be 50 worlds stacked up in a day where you take a different decision, and it takes you a little bit longer to arrive at that moment where you feel like you've been there before because there is another you who took a faster route, if you like.
But could that add reborn?
Well, no, it's just a case. It's
as
more
well, because if you remember the past.
Well, that's remembering the past. I mean, most of these times on a deja vu, it's always quite recent.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, that one I mentioned earlier was quite a long one. It was about a year.
Yeah.
But most other times, it's like, oh, I didn't do this last week. Was this not like,
it's just one of them
recent
things
that happened?
Notice something
exactly.
Quite right.
I mean, I've never walked down this road before, but I recognise it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's another one. But what I'm getting at is how if every day you make a decision on what type of breakfast cereal you want, whether you should get the bus or ride your bike to work or drive. Yeah. And each time you make that decision, if you want to go down the parallel universes route, then there's another you that took a different decision. But ultimately, a lot of these different versions will arrive at the same points as you do, because you're always heading to work. So no matter which method you use to get there, you'll always arrive at work. So there'll be points there. But there might be a point where you chose to take your car that day and you arrived at work 10 minutes earlier. So you've already done your getting into work, making a coffee, clocking in, and then you the other you who decided to ride his bike, who arrived at the building 20 minutes later than the version of you that drove, he arrives in the building and suddenly gets a sense of deja vu, because there's already been a point in time that day where you've done those actions before. Do you know what I mean? It could be that. I mean, in terms of if you want theories. We'll get into some little stories a bit later on, which there are instances of that type of thing happening.
It's the little bits. It's not mainly the big bits. I mean, I
It's
walk
the
down.
big bits, not the little bits. It's
No,
the
it
little
is the
things.
little
It's
bits.
the little things that count, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Because you could be walking down, and a certain person drops some pennies, or someone's bent over, or someone's cleaning windows, or someone's walking in the shop. That exact with the exact, let's say, same colours, and all of them doing it at the same time, makes it more likely than you've actually done this before, instead of the case of I've walked past there 10 billion times and like it's happened again and again. Times over them times.
Well, this is it. I mean, in terms of precognition, they say the direct knowledge or knowledge of the future basically essentially means that the frequency, there's a frequency that they report all this precognition occurs. Often 60% to 70% of which occurs in dreams. Yeah. So, like I say, you kind of come up with all this wild shit in your brain, and then, you know, you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden, a couple of little elements of your dream ring true. But you don't remember your dream, you know, and then all of a sudden it comes up with this, oh shit, your brain
but then, like you
reconnects
say,
the dots.
it shows a picture, and then you remember everything you've just done. Has just happened. Everything your eyes were looking at.
I know, but I mean, it's like, have you never had a dream that's super vivid? It's like you start getting those flash visions. It's like you only see flashes of things. Yeah. So think about that. Yeah, you're only seeing flashes and elements of these dreams that you. I'm still trying to remember one the other day, and I can only see flashes of this dream. Yeah, but there'll be a point in the future where I'll be in a situation that puts me in a position where it's very similar to that dream, and I will go, shit, is this that thing I was thinking about? And it's not. It's just close. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we need a lot more research on the brain, because I think it's actually there's parts of the brain that we haven't.
Oh, definitely. I'm really interested in terms of
but like you said, it's a powerful thing in the universe. You know what I mean? It's that complex because you've got to consider all the chemical elements, the senses, the vibrations, the light, the sound waves and stuff like that. You've got to consider every single bit. It's just I think it's exactly the same in a way as the quantum realm.
Quantum, I love how you say that. It's so cool. Just this bit of information here. Usually, the majority of precognitive experiences happen within 48 hour a 48-hour period of the future event. So it's always quite finger quick. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you have a moment, you'd have to have something quite substantial to tell you when exactly that was going to happen, because once you arrive in the moment, it's too late.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how it
why
can
do you
help.
Remember that as well?
How can it help?
Yeah, it can't help that you remember it either, because now you're questioning yourself and now
exactly.
you're questioning your brain.
So even some precognitive experiences have occurred months or even years before the actual event has taken place.
Yeah.
Emotional shock seems to be a major factor in a lot of these, by a ratio of 4-1.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Unhappy events such as deaths, dying, illness, and accidents, natural disasters, seem to play a factor. With up to 80 to 85% of such experiences involving a spouse, a family member, or friend, or somebody they've got close emotional ties with.
Yeah, actually, thinking of that, that could have been an answer to a deja vu.
But the difference between precognition, premotion, and prophecy, generally involves knowledge of the future, whilst premotions involves a sense of feeling that something's gonna happen, whereas prophecy is a prediction and basically just
ain't they closely linked? I would have thought as well.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, have you got anything you'd like to add? I've got a few little mini glitch stories found on BuzzFeed and Reddit.
And BuzzFeeds.
Have you got fucking quality? You want to read some of that?
Yeah, go on then.
Go on. No, have you not got anything more info?
I've got. Well, we've got. If we're going to talk about the Matrix, I was going to go into the.
Tell me about the Matrix.
Main one
Should I
that
take
everyone
the blue
seems
pill?
to be talking about is the one in room 33 where Neo gets shot and there's no bullet hole in him or the wall, but there's blood all over the place.
Boy, it's a movie though.
Yeah, but the thing is it the trickery of the director to put that in there deliberately? Because there's, I think, in the first movie, I think it's 138 mistakes deliberately put in there.
What, like in terms of like they want you to notice that these? I mean, I've watched quite a lot of behind the scenes stuff on the Matrix.
Well, it was a big thing in the 90s, wasn't it?
I actually seen a lot of stuff that I didn't realise was going on.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like even just how they styled that film. You know, when they're in the Matrix, everything's got a green tint. When everything, you know, when they're in the real world, it's
so you could recognise what was what.
You know, and then like the girl in the red dress, she seems to crop up quite a lot.
Yes, she does.
And you know, just loads of bits that you pick up on.
Really think.
And but again, that's why I rewatch films. There's a lot of people out there and go, why do you watch films again once you've seen it? And
I think that's why they do it.
There's so much to unpack. For these films are on so many levels.
Don't forget in the bit in the 90s.
Watching again.
In the 90s, there was a big thing of like looking at 80s movies and looking at the mistakes. And that's come a trend that like a lot of people do. I mean, you've got loads of podcasts that do that. You know what I mean? So with that trend, it keeps the movie alive.
I watched a film the other day, and it had one really, really bad continuity error. And I'm trying for the life of me to remember what the film was, but it was a good film. Can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But
Can't remember the film?
Yeah, but I watched so many films, and especially being on lockdown, it's just been movie overload.
Yeah.
In fact, I watched Hudson Hawk the other day. That wasn't the film in question. It was just a comedy, Die Hard, to be honest.
Wow.
About a singing locks jewel thief with Bruce Willis. It was all right, but that wasn't the film. Anyway, there was a fight scene where the woman who was in the fight, she was all busted up in one scene, hair all down, and then the next scene her hair was back in a ponytail, and then the next scene again she was down again. I know, I just went, oh, just ruined it for me.
Yeah, I hate that when you spot it.
Killed the continuity, but guys, come on, man. We just would have left that scene out.
Yeah, it's like
you know
the
what I mean? Just cut it out, get a good editor.
It's like one of the Transformers where he's holding onto one of the little aliens and walking across the table while his missus is walking out. At one point, he's walking and there's nothing in his hand.
Literally.
Yeah, and it's like, but... Yeah, I suppose some people, it's a hobby for some people watch that nowadays.
What, do you mean just actually looking for movie
Yeah,
mistakes?
I mean, like I said, there's
in
podcasts
terms
that
of,
do it.
like, you know, glitches, I think, like, there's a lot more visual things out there. And when I was doing research for this stuff, when you type into the Google machine, glitches in the Matrix, it comes up with some very fucked up stuff in terms of, like, coincidences. I think not. I mean, there's coincidences, and then there's this. Yeah, these like, you know, it's just too kind of bizarre to describe. Where you get two people in the same outfit, yeah, in the same spot, doing exactly the same thing, yeah, and you think, is that the same person? You know, these little stories that crop up everywhere on the internet, and you can look for them just by typing in glitches in the Matrix stories.
Yeah.
One here I've got was driving home one stormy day, I see a side road up a local golf course is blocked by a flashing barricade. Right. I also spy a Mercedes parked up past the barricade with its hazard lights on. So I stop and walk up to the car to see if it needed any help. I'm an EMT, so I just thought, worth going over.
Yeah.
So I shine my light into the back seat to see a man slumped over, apparently sleeping. I think thinking he'd got a drunk on his hands, he moved up to the driver's window and rapped on the glass, shining his light over the driver who was sitting there bolt upright, unmoving, staring straight ahead. The windows basically, he rapped on the windows again, and the guy just didn't blink, flinch, or move, right?
Ooh, bit weird.
He looked over to the passenger who was slumped forward on the dash.
What the fuck?
This began to creep him out.
Yeah, man.
He called down to the sheriff's station and requested a code 2. So no lights or siren up until the location.
Yeah.
And helped check out the doors and made sure that they weren't locked and stuff like that, see if they could get anyone out. Whilst on the phone, he walked back to his truck to get his go bag. Yeah. Basically, I'm assuming that's going to be his medical supplies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to phone up to the dispatch to see if they could get a cherry picker out to come and tow the car away.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved around the truck to get the plates, and all of a sudden, the car was gone.
What?
So he
just disappeared in front of his eyes.
Yeah, well, no, a truck went past. He talked to the truck driver, who said there was an 80-foot tree down across the road, and that he didn't think it was the road was going to be open for a day or so.
Yeah.
So the question is, where'd the hell the car go?
That's weird.
So the tree up the road on the barricade. The barricade was down on one other side, so it kept. Obviously there was a truck there and a barricade, so there was no way the car could have got out.
Yeah, no way.
Obviously the guy was a bit unsettled by it. He thought he'd stopped for an accident when he sees one.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. Says he doesn't really have any more information about it, but he just basically said it was like it was there 1 minute, it was gone the next. It was total glitch.
Did he touch it? Was he solid?
Now, I thought when I was reading that story that what was going to happen was like it was going to disappear, and then
the next day,
the actual crash would have happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Can see
like,
that, yeah.
But no, it was just a case of there 1 minute, gone the next. So, I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, there's a few stories about, like, kind of,
I'd put that into some kind of ghost story as well myself, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I would say the same thing, actually. It could come under a bit of a ghost story.
Was he in mental distress at the time as well? Was he, like, had he had any issues? Was there any family issues that he was on his mind, playing with it? His conscience?
Don't know. Well, got this guy who said he had a crazy, vivid dream when he was in 7th grade. He dreamt that there was a white van parked outside his house. A man got out, walked into his house, broke in, and then went to his brother's room and killed him.
Whoa.
Right? He woke up freaked out. It was like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And he couldn't sleep, so he went into the kitchen and turned the light on. A few seconds later, he saw a white van outside.
Oh, shit.
Next minute, it flipped the lights on and sped away.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Feeling like he'd disturbed him. He always felt like that was a case of he had a bit of a precognition or a sixth sense about his brother. And the act of him getting up and going for a drink that morning.
Well, then again, he could have imagined it all, and he was just a guy who just got in the van.
Could have just been a guy going to work.
Yeah, could have been. But that's a bit freaky. You would think it would be a bit out there if it happened to you.
Yeah, true that.
Fucking hell.
Here's another weird one. So one morning, I woke up and rolled out of bed. So this sounds like, do you know, I love it when they paint a picture.
Yeah.
Woke up one morning, rolled out of bed, brushed my teeth, had my breakfast, as usual.
Yeah, the usual.
Then I went about my day. I lounged about the house a little bit, played a bit of Nintendo DS. And I plinked away on the guitar for a couple of hours. It was a lazy morning. Sounds like one of my lazy days, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just
Suddenly, I'm driving my car a couple of towns over, and I'm like, what the fuck? On my way to Barnes and Noble. I pulled over and tried to collect my thoughts. I remembered waking up, getting ready, watering the plants, cleaning stuff, cleaning my living room, hopping in my car, but I also remember doing all that other stuff as well. I had two versions of that morning. I had two separate days that suddenly merged into one, and I had both memories of it.
Well, that just makes me think there's more of a connection in the brain.
That actually makes that sounds more like what I was saying earlier about like multiple universes, and how like you could argue that that guy had two versions of a morning, and he caught up with himself and then was like, wait a minute, this isn't the day I've had, but everything was leading up to that.
That's interesting on catching up on yourself. Catching up on yourself on doing something.
That's what I said earlier.
Is a bit. Yeah.
It's like you might have taken a wrong turning, but I mean, if there is fate and people argue that there is, wouldn't you argue that, you know, no matter what mistakes you made, you were always going to get to the same place? It might just take you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And you might find in points in your day where you get deja vu, it's because you've just caught up with another version of yourself that's already lived that moment.
Yeah, but then that makes me think...
I'm baffling Taylor's mind tonight. He's going 404 error.
It's making me think then there must have been a path. What happened in that path? And if you have had deja vu time and time again, what is wrong with your path? Or is there someone guiding your path? Like
that could potentially be it. That could be like a little marker to say you're on the right track. Or you're not on the right track. It's all gut feeling, isn't it? And it's like,
It's got your gut feeling.
If deja vu's a sense, then how do you use it to your advantage? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, as a sense, I think it's like as much of a sense as a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You've got to learn to control it first and work its benefits out. But then that means... I mean, don't get me wrong, if it happened day after day after day, then you could do that. But if it happens every now and again, and when you're not expecting it, how are you going to try and find it? You know what I mean? There's a lot of times, like you say, like you don't expect it, but then it happens and it's like, hold on. Yeah, what's going on here? Hey up. Jeremy Beadle around.
Edgemore Jeremy Kyle. Here's one for you, another little one. When I was about 6 or 7, my cat died. Oh.
Let's hear it. I
haven't got an sound effect, Soz. It was the first time I experienced death, and it really shook me up. It was about a month later, I saw the cat walking into my bedroom. This has happened to me.
What the?
It was clear as day. I wasn't freaked out, and I didn't question it. I reached down to pet him, and suddenly it was gone. That's exactly what happened to me. This happened a few more times. Only happened the once to me, though. Until I got a new cat, until I got 2 new cats. Each time it happened, the fact that it was dead never crossed my mind. Now, I had this same thing where my grand's cat died, and it slinked past my ankles.
Yeah.
And
I remember you saying,
and then I was like, where's your cat gone, Nan? And she went, what you on about? The cat died. I was like, it's just gone round my ankles. I've just felt it. Do you know what I mean? But when I looked to pet it, it was gone.
Well, could it be it reminds me again of like
ghost story.
Like after someone passes, they generally like to people like say they see.
Well, this is the thing: is it getting put down as a glitch in the Matrix a glitch because this is somebody who doesn't believe in supernatural, but all obviously believes in the fact that we're being controlled by whatever
something or
by a thing,
another beam or gas. Fuck knows what it is.
Well, when I was very young, maybe 5 or 6,
right.
I tried to watch a videotape at like a movie he liked. Nothing but static. He tried to get his Barney tape going again.
Okay.
But it's nothing but static again. He ejected the tape and called his mum into the room. She insisted that the tape was just, I think he put it a bit kind of worn or whatever. She put the tape in and pressed play. And exactly like I had moments before, static again.
Right.
But then it worked perfectly. She just thought I'd done it wrong. But I went back into the room across the hall and immediately static. I ran in to tell her, but when she came back, it was playing normal.
Wow.
That sounds a bit poltergeisty.
Yeah, electric charge off the...
The fact that, maybe there was some sort of static charge.
Yeah, because that's just an interference, and I can't. I'd just have to go with that one, with an electric charge of some sort, or magnetism of some sort.
I'm not sure any of them are glitches in the Matrix. I've got some good ones there. So there was a couple, who basically was come home from work. Yeah, they'd bought this house, and they'd been living together for a couple of months. And literally, she, do you know when like you used to seeing people in the same spot? Yeah. Yeah, and that's their spot. Bit Sheldon Cooper. Yeah.
Right.
So they both come home from work, walked into the house, and for a moment, he thought he saw his girlfriend, Susan, sat at the computer, typing out, doing a bit of work, right? But Susan came in the house at the exact same time as he did, yeah? So he kind of just took it as a bit of his mind was playing tricks on him, he'd had a hard day, he was tired.
Yeah, curtains were looking a bit wrong.
Susan stood right next to me, obviously I've just seen something. Until Susan turned around a couple of nights later, and mentioned about the fact that when they came in that night, like, she thought for a split second she saw herself sat at the desk.
Whoa.
Right. Now, could you argue glitch in the Matrix?
Could be, or yet again, ghosts.
Well, again, you could even argue the time, like, the parallel universes. I mean, it stacks up with all three.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of these do. I mean, didn't we cover one last week or a couple of weeks ago about a guy who was, out walking his dog, and he, we were talking about time loops, and he literally saw a guy across the field, and his dog kind of started running towards him, and as he approached him, he started walking off. So by the time he got to the spot he originally saw him in, this guy was gone, but then there was another guy looking on at him, and it was like a bit of a time loop type thing.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of that coming out lately, because have you seen this new video that's come out of a little girl dancing, and in the background there's a back of a woman.
Oh, right.
And it just turns up in one part of the clip, but then it's not there in any other part of the clip. And it's like, whoa, freaky shit, what's going on
there? There's a few
there?
bits like that where it's like a baby will be looking in the mirror, and it's like smiling in one and it's frowning in the other. And it's like, it's got to be some sort of camera trick. It's like, there's a lot of things out there that you've got to watch and go, that's somebody's photoshopped that or done something to try and bullshit me and try and blag me. But
Well, this guy actually, people were saying he's blagging and that, and he's got worried and all sorts over it. And he's like, honestly, this is what happened, and this is what, when I had a look at the footage afterwards, there was a head it looked like not even sitting on a chair. It's just like a woman's back of a woman against the wall,
right?
And that was it.
Okay.
And it was just like, it was a weird video.
Have you got any stories about glitches or any weird bits like that? Because I mean, I've got a lot more. I've got a few more, but
wow.
But I think we're running out of time anyway. I think we need to go into the news soon.
I think we do. I think the majority of it's to do with the mind again. It's the climate, the mind, the food that we have, because
never eat cheese before bedtime, guys. You'll have nightmares.
Even down to viruses and stuff that like connect, that go through the brain.
Viruses that go through the brain. You heard it first. This is the WHO's new scientific advisor.
Well, but even bacteria that, like, we don't even know of yet, that's running wild, that we haven't even considered, could be dangerous, but could be changing things within our mind if we, like the good luck and the bad luck charm thing, like on, let's say Red Dwarf again, the good luck virus.
I reckon that probably does exist.
That probably does exist.
I think it's just that, in terms of looking into it as a scientific, it's like these well, it is, but it's kind of like we're quite happy to accept that there's bad viruses and bad infections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the way they put it across is like, have you never woke up just feeling great for no reason when your life's been absolute crud?
Yeah.
And you have them days, everyone does, you wake up feeling amazing, and it's like you've probably contracted some form of positive virus. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense to me. I think if you can, there's always negative and positive and equal and opposite, reactions. I think if you can get a negative virus, I can imagine you could get a positive. And it's just that we've probably not discovered or been able to isolate it.
Well, it's more difficult to find, I would imagine.
Find the luckiest man alive and then
wipe his brow.
And then try and find out if he's got anything different about his genetics.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
Well, and you know what? funny enough, I was just about to say that'd be the first thing they look at, the genetics, and it not necessarily has to be the genetics. Not everything is down to the genetics, you know what I mean? It could be down to, let's say that he's had a heart transplant, and the vibrations that are coming off the heart the little vibrations at the right peak to actually give your brain a stimulus to actually affect and do certain stuff or imagine certain stuff. Or, you know what I mean?
I actually understood what you meant by that. It's like you're basically what you're saying is some sort of third party element could be interfering with you. I mean, so what
you're
it
does
saying
every day with your mobile phone.
This hypothetical guy, right, was a down and out loser before he had a heart transplant.
Yeah,
Fox,
that was a genius.
Fox, if you're listening to this, this is right sort of for the Never Straight Answer. We own this property, so if you want to put it out there. And so what's the concept? Right, what I've already forgot.
Well, it's basically because everything is by vibrations. If you go by
that's it. Yeah.
If you go by string theory and stuff like that, but even time travel and stuff like that comes into it. But the vibration of the pacemaker could change certain reactions.
And
to
then
your
he could
body.
Transform into a Megazord.
Yeah, it might actually do it as it. Well, no, it might actually tell the stomach. It might tell the bacteria within the stomach, we don't need you. You know what I mean? Or we need more of you, or make the person even better, or make them worse. You know what I mean? Just over a little electrical current. I mean, if the a little electrical current through your brain could do so much, imagine just a little.
It makes me laugh because it's like the military's so invested in all this shit. It's like makes me wonder why if they're not already looking for super soldier serum. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll do an episode on it one day.
Yeah.
But I think we best move on because we're going to be running out of time shortly. But I think we should move on to the news. The news. We've been looking all over the interweb and we found the best news stories. We searched for for 25 to 30 minutes.
We did.
Found some fucking entertaining stories. There's been a lot going on in the world this week.
Yeah.
And, well, we're in a world where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is probably going to do a remake of The Rock in a jungle. You heard it here first.
No.
Yeah, that's my prediction anyway.
Nah, that's bad, man.
Well, it might never happen. Well, what's been going on in the world? In a week that sees an ISS spacewalk happening this week on track despite Corona. It's been a number of days happening in, like we mentioned earlier, Back to the Future Day, 4th of July. It was World UFO Day this week. And obviously Congress wants to identify sightings and basically declassify stuff.
Yeah, I think we're getting more closer to the time of declassification, but I still think it's going to be at the rate that it has been slow.
She can declassify any. Ooh, yeah. This year's been the unofficial, this year on the unofficial 2nd of July holiday known as World UFO Day. You may have a real reason to celebrate as members of Congress are calling for a significant disclosure regarding the military and its UFO and paranormal aerial phenomenon, or UPAs. In mid-June, the Senate the Senate committee submitted a draft to an Intelligence Authorization Act. Basically primarily outlining new funding of intelligence and organising a committee to, I think that's to put out, to decide what gets to go out into the public domain or not.
So they've got control of it.
Yes. So it's good news in terms of new information coming forward, but it could just be a case of a smokescreen and here's just a load of stuff to keep you busy while we're up to other no good mysteries.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors at the mall. Very much so.
Do you think that's a good tactic? Because you dump a load of, load of wiki files.
Yeah.
or like which sends conspiracy nuts and people who've like got a chip on the shoulder down a rabbit hole for X amount of time.
Yeah.
It's in espionage. That's always been the case, hasn't it? That's what they always do. They kind of they send you on a wild goose chase while they're doing other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look,
could this be? Could we have just fallen right into the trap? Is what I'm asking.
There is that possibility, without a doubt. And there are people out there who are bullshitting and leading people in a direction where whoever's in control wants them to go. And don't forget, these people have been doing it for generations. You know what I mean? They've been perfecting the art of how to control the masses, and they obviously come to a point where they've done it so well, they've covered it up so well that like things haven't gone that great because little bits have been slipping out and they've been caught out.
That's what she said.
It is.
It kept slipping out. I totally agree. I think like
anything's possible. You've just got to believe what you believe in and follow.
It's been one of them years anyway where it's like, I think everyone keeps wondering what the fuck's next. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was an alien invasion, and that it's all a moot point anyway, because it's like fucking we can see them.
Yeah.
Cheers for telling us in time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice. I know you've been talking to them since like 94.
Well, maybe they'll see something, because like I say, NASA are doing a spacewalk this week.
Yes.
Wednesday they might have already done it on Wednesday the 1st of July.
Yeah, they've done it.
Complete. Well, it was making its final preparations for its spacewalk. Yeah, so 1st of July, so it's done it.
Right.
Do apologise.
No,
it's
they've
completed
been doing quite
its
a few
spacewalk, been out there doing a bit. Swapping out some batteries.
Yeah, ain't there plans for another woman spacewalk?
Yeah,
again?
I think so. There was a all-female spacewalk, weren't there?
Yeah.
This time it was Chris Cassidy, the commander.
Right.
And Bob Birkin, who arrived at the ISS a month ago, so this is their first spacewalk since arriving. They were aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon, and they carried out the spacewalk on Wednesday, following successful outgoing repairs by the pair on the Friday the 26th, and focusing on the same tasks. So working as a team, because teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the battery store power collected by the station's main solar array, and the astronauts are exchanging the old nickel hydrogen batteries for more powerful lithium ones.
Oh, nice. So
let's
just hope they don't explode.
So like a fucking Samsung phone.
Well, if you just imagine that goes up, fucking out.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
They've been swapping them out. And that started in 2017, so they've had no problems. But
that's
obviously, Wednesday's spacewalk experience, they went out, they did it, come back, had a cup of tea.
Good, lads. No doubt they're going to do it again in a couple of days' time.
I'm sure.
Because they're generally doing quite a lot of spacewalks at the moment.
Yeah.
Very much
I should have saved all that. Well, obviously, we're doing NASA news first by the looks of it.
Well, we'll go for it. Yeah.
Well, that were my two NASA stories, to be honest.
All right.
Have you got any NASA news?
Yeah, I got one. I found out. I didn't actually bring my notes today on it, but I just found out that they found a planet like Neptune, but it's a weird world because now they've realised that planets can grow bigger than they expected, with a rock hard surface.
Well, like I was saying about this, I think there was it's not the New Horizons, it's another one of the satellites they sent out, and it was out there to discover dwarf planets.
Yeah.
And it basically found, it went out, saw two. I think one of them hit the first one just as the New Horizons was reaching Pluto.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it
it
got into... Oh, no, it wasn't. It got into an orbit on this dwarf planet.
Yeah.
And it stayed there for a year, and then it blasted off again, and then went to another one, Sirius, I think it was called. And then it checked that out. And again, these were just kind of like... I mean... they look at these little dwarf planets, where the rocky planets, as building blocks, and think that maybe Earth and Mars and other planets were like these at one point or another in history, and maybe they're ones to watch. But unfortunately, they're just outside of like the meteor belts. Yeah. So they don't really kind of get sucked into like the Goldilocks zone or anything like that. So they probably won't harbour life.
But there's chance that it could harbour something there.
It's funny,
not
really,
necessarily
isn't it?
Not life.
It's funny when you look at these planets, because they all look rocky. Yeah. It's like, look at Earth. It's blue and green. Yeah, it's a bluey green marble. Yeah. Right. Aim for the ones that have got a bit of colour on, guys. Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Because I'm not being funny. You keep going for the really deserty moons, like a bit kind of Tatooine.
Yeah, Neptune's got colour, but it's gassy.
You go into the Tatooine type planets, and they're all a bit samey.
We might already be there.
Well, there you go.
In fact, actually, I watched. You remember the 2001 Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
Right. Well, do you remember they did a second one, 2010? You ever seen that?
I have. It was a while ago. I'm not going to pretend that I remember what goes on.
Because I was there and I'm thinking, you know what?
You were there?
No, I saw it the other day, the other night. I thought, you know what? I'll go watch this because I want to know what the monoliths were actually there for.
Yeah.
And it turned out, if anyone, I don't want to spoil the surprise, so if anyone don't want to hear the answer to it, you better, fast forward it now.
42.
It was actually making another planet.
Oh, right, okay.
Another sun, sorry. It made another sun, so it made Jupiter into a sun. So there was two suns that actually made Io, the moon of Jupiter, actually turn into a planet that thrived life.
Okay. Well, I've got one last bit of spacey NASA news before we go into the normal news. Yeah. And then we've got another little segment coming up, have we?
We have. We have.
Go easy on them, Taylor.
I will, for the first time.
Right, well, for the first time, you can finally escape the Earth. If you've had enough of this fucking shithole and you want to fuck off for a few hours.
What, for good?
Well, no, not for good. Unless you want to abandon ship while you're up there.
No, I like oxygen too much.
You can finally escape the Earth for a few hours. The starship Neptune will take passengers to the edge of space, 19 miles above the Earth's surface. The trip will last a total of 6 hours and cost $125,000.
Neptune, I would have called it Enterprise.
I
would have called it Enterprise.
What, they're cashing in on it?
Yeah.
It's Enterprise and there's a copyright out on that ship's
name, I know. They got it in good timing then, didn't they?
Well, how bad do you want to get off the planet in 2020? It's become the year of fucking, 2012 threatened to be.
That's true.
Well, this is what I'm saying. They got the dates wrong, mate.
Yeah. You might be right. Man.
And if you want to get away and you fancy a break and you want to go somewhere that's not, you don't need quarantine. Regulations.
Yeah, you don't have to quarantine for. Hey, could I get 14 days up in space? Quarantine, mate.
Well, no, that's the thing, isn't it? I don't think you'll need to be, but I mean, I reckon the photo ops are amazing. Space tourism has been a dream of NASA's since it launched its first rocket to the moon. In fact, they were supposed to have a moon colony by now. They
have to just not tell us.
They gutted that in 2004, apparently, that project. But SpaceX wants to get up there pretty rapid, so we'll see what happens. And then we'll go through a whole new 4th of July type bollocks, Independence Day, when they turn around and go, we don't want to be part of Earth. Yeah, what do you know about being a Martian? You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we're in control now.
So there you go. Space news done.
Space news.
You got any more?
No.
Nah, all good. Yeah. Well, going into fucking general news, I've got some wildlife news that was quite interesting. An escaped boa constrictor was found in Wales on an allotment.
Oh, shit.
Jake, you've got an allotment. What would you do if you found a fucking boa constrictor? Get off.
Get off with it.
Just get off, mate.
Just get off with it.
I'll just peg it. It's not known where the giant red-tailed snake escaped from, but it's a beast.
Fucking hell, look at the size that cunt.
Well, an allotment holder in South Wales got a shock of the life when they discovered a 6-foot or 1.8 metre boa constrictor amongst the veggies. The red-tailed snake was found by a member of the public at a community allotment site in Newport on the 14th of June. It was quickly transported to a local police station before the RSPCA drove in, and a specialist took care of it in the West Midlands. The giant snake is believed to be someone's pet, but no one's reported it as escaped.
Pet?
It's amazing, that, isn't
Bet
it?
someone threw it down the sewers.
Shit, me snakes. Snakes escape.
Yeah, snakes escape. Why?
Actually, it's
what
not the first time that's happened. I have a story where somebody, basically one of my friend's neighbours, had a snake, it escaped, and then I came cycling up the road about a year later. It was pissing it down with rain, and there was a snake in the middle of the road.
Oh, shit, did you go and pick it up or run it over?
I picked it up and knocked on the door and went, "Is this your snake?"
Was it his snake?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
He'd got rid of his vivarium by this point,
Oh,
so he
shit,
had
so
nowhere to put it.
The bath.
I know, it was one of
Got
them.
with the bath of the sink. Depends on the size.
Oh, snake.
Look at that, that's a big boy, that.
Yeah, so... but yeah, it's not the only animal-related story I've got this week.
Yeah.
Because there's a plague of rats, as if we've not had it all, biblical proportions. And whatnot.
We're starting all this.
There's a new plague of cannibal rats that are on the march in Britain.
Then get rid of all the other rats.
Well, now what happens when they run out of other rats?
Well, there'll be only one or two left, won't they? Really?
Cannibal
just introduce them.
Are on the march across Britain as restaurant closures and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've got nothing to eat, and then the fact is, they say that there's about 4 rats, like in the vicinity of you at any one time, which is a bit disgusting. But if you think about it,
need them.
They live in town centres and they heavily rely on food waste. Yeah, scrap waste from restaurants, bistros, fucking cafes.
And we do dump a lot.
And basically just sandwiches at lunchtime that get discarded. These things get eaten by rats, basically.
Yeah.
But because there's no food for the rats to eat, hungry rodents are even eating their own young. Rentokil has reported a rise of 80% in the demand for anti-rat services.
Fucking hell, 80%?
Yeah, so watch it. Just check them out if you see something scurrying across your
They might want to eat you next.
Yeah, watch your pets.
Yeah. Well, if it's willing to eat
if you've got one of those little Chihuahua dogs, mate, it's bad times because there's boa constrictors on the loose.
Yeah,
These rats, the cannibal rats.
I bet the squirrels are shitting themselves at the minute.
I saw something the other day that I thought was a rat, and it turned out to be a squirrel with no tail.
Oh,
and I felt sorry for it because it still had a tail. It just looked like it'd been had by something, so it was a bit of a ratty tail.
Well, I suppose it's good for it, really, because either the tail or it would have been.
True.
You'd rather have the tail than it.
So, have you got anything you want to talk about?
Anonymous has turned around and told people who've got TikTok to get rid of it. Basically, they've hacked TikTok because it's got Chinese spyware.
Has it?
Yeah.
Well, TikTok's been in the news quite a lot. Now, I'm not surprised that TikTok's under fire at the moment.
Yeah.
Because of this Trump campaign against him. Yeah. So I'm really not surprised that this has come out at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe it's not all that,
Well, there's a lot
there might not be that much to it. I think it might be, but at the end of the day, it's like the government at the moment, it's like back in the day when there was a Cold War with Russia.
Yeah.
All you had to say was Russians. And it was like, shit, baddie. Right. If Russians are doing something, don't do it. Oh, shit. Now it's the Chinese. It's like, don't do it. The Chinese have got spy shit on it, yeah? It's like, well, have they really? Well, they might have because, but...
Well, you can guarantee the Western side have as well.
At the end of the day, wasn't it the CIA who had spy shit on Pokemon Go recently?
Yeah.
Or was that the Chinese as well? Who knows? I think it was probably both.
Yeah,
now,
it was CIA.
TikTok's just a platform at the end of the day. And I mean, it's like if the software's unsecure, then... That's a different issue, but it's not that. It's they're trying to shut down a platform where users are communicating and using it as a platform to communicate a message against somebody else. So in this case, they want to bring down Trump's website. Yeah, right. And they're putting this little scheme together through TikTok. Yeah. I am not surprised TikTok are under fire at the moment. Now, I don't use it.
I don't.
But when you hear messages and people who are on it as fucking gold as this guy, it makes me think, TikTok sounds all right. A guy on TikTok who goes by 2028 man has claimed he's a time traveler.
Oh, not another one.
He's got basically, and is an extension of his time travel. He's got videos on YouTube. People usually declare they're from some future date, and are very important info for clicks. One of 28 man's more viral videos is a prediction that Hurricane Kyle will hit Houston. Is that right? Yeah, Hurricane Kyle will hit Houston on August the 10th and be more devastating than Katrina.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of his predictions. Given that our current reality is so bleak, these predictions are obviously, pretty left field.
Yeah.
But still added that the misinformation that's spread quickly over TikTok is, fucking wild because people are idiots. But he's got about 170,000 followers in less than a month. And basically, he said that he said that what was his name was going to win the election. I've got it here somewhere. Oh yeah. So you
got it.
Yeah. So he claims that Trump will be removed from the White House.
Rooted in popular culture.
He basically says that the opposition's going to win. Is it Joe Biden?
What's this?
Hang on.
There's a bit there, someone's being exposed as an alien.
Yeah, because there's two of them, you see. There's 2028 man and 2029 man. Yeah.
Right.
2029 man says he was sent back to 2020 from his guessing 2029.
Yeah.
He says he's very similar thing. A load of them were recruited to be sent back to 2020 to stop the future happening as it did.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Great Collapse, as they put it.
It's already happening, so it's fucking too late on that one.
Yeah, so he says that the election will end with Trump being forcibly removed from while the predictions are more rooted in popular culture, as Liz Yvette will be exposed as an alien.
The fuck?
Who's Lil Luzette? Vet? I don't know. Maybe I'm out. I'm
Liz
old.
Yvette.
I'm too old. Maybe she's like a fucking a pop singer. She might be a pop singer.
She couldn't. She might turn up in a few years' time. You never know.
Who knows?
Might not have happened.
So yeah, he's been quite controversial. But like I say, TikTok's had this big K-pop thing.
Yeah.
And this K-pop, I've been reading a load of mad stuff about this as well. This K-pop fad.
Yeah.
That I want to read a bit more into, and we'll go into it in a bit of a later show if it turns out to be as accurate
as you predict.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently, like, it's about how kind of the stars are being treated, but as they're being forced to kind of perform constantly. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it seems a bit more sinister than it's first led to be, as this happy sort of Korean cultural thing. But yeah, I'm going to check into that and we'll come back to that.
Yeah, defo, man. I'd like to.
Anything else you want to talk about before we crack on?
Chinese. One of the Chinese longest gold and jewellery manufacturers has just been caught out after they wanted a £20 billion pound loan, and they sent back $2 billion back in gold, which actually turned out to be copper.
What?
Yeah,
so they pulled the old switcheroo. They went, send us some gold. It's like these con artists who go, I'll buy an Xbox from the catalogue and then put a brick in it and send it back.
Yeah, and where do you think the manufacturer lives?
What, in China?
Yeah, where?
Wuhan.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
Wild stab in the dark, but fuck me.
Just a little.
Our sister country there, sister town.
Yeah,
loving a bit of the Wuhan love.
Can't believe it's called King Gold.
Right.
King Gold, one of the oldest Chinese companies that dealt in gold.
Fucking hell.
And it was like a big investment, and they just got caught, man. It worked out. It was 2 billion yen worth.
How much is that in UK pence?
What was it? It was 20 billion in yen, but it was 2 billion in UK. Yeah,
fair enough.
And it was like, what the fuck?
Talking about seizures in the UK this week,
Yes.
700 arrests in the biggest sting operation going at the moment, which is causing all types of ripples effects over the country. And it all comes down to this mobile phone device, which was about 11 grand to buy. Which operated on a different network, wasn't it?
Yeah. Darknet.
It just reminds me of that. You know, they were going on the news, the police, about how they've kind of cracked this code, and it was as big a deal as them cracking the Enigma code.
Yeah,
and you know, it was a big achievement for them. I think they just found one with the fucking code still put in. Die Hard 2.
Yeah. Oh, whoops! Thank you very much.
You fucking made my day, mate. And now all of a sudden you've got to fucking listen in.
Well,
and
I
it's
think
like they just struck lucky, but they made it out as if it was some sort of absolutely crack operation.
I still think it was partly to do with the iPhone incident for the last time, where the FBI wanted to break into it. They eventually did. When they did, they didn't tell anyone, but they did sting operations. But the CIA has been in the corner of the darknet for a long time now, and people in the darknet are obviously not realising this and like getting caught left, right, and centre, just going on with their own business, man.
Well, I've got 2 more little stories, COVID related.
Oh, go for it.
First one is Amsterdam's red light district is preparing to reopen after the corona lockdown. A lot of people out there wondering what the dealio is with social distancing in this respect. Most sex workers have banned kissing, which I don't know if that's your thing. Yeah. And they cleaning the sheets after every appointment.
Bullshit.
No, is that gonna be enough?
I don't think it is. They also the sweat does go through.
Ask if clients are healthy. Yeah. So
well,
I'm sweet.
Yeah, I've just got a mild cough. But
you don't need to wear a face mask during play dates. Thank God, said one customer.
It's dangerous. I think that's too dangerous, I think.
Do you think?
It's an easy way of spreading in it as well.
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll watch this space. I mean, at the end, you think that if they've got their city under control and it's down to a certain level, then the risk's low, then it's business as usual, isn't it? I mean, you've just got to kind of take those chances. I mean, this is what we're doing in this country.
They're living at the end of the day.
I mean, we're opening the pubs. I mean, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, obviously, it isn't the same thing, but it is at the same time, because it's like you're trying to restart your economy.
Yeah.
And if that's a big tourist trade, then you need that up and running. And I mean, obviously, what it is what it is. But fact is, it's I mean, you've got to start it up somewhere. Now, if they think that their country's in a situation where they can, then go for it. We'll find out. Only time will tell, won't we?
Well, time will tell, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt.
But my last story on COVID this week is about a patient who gave birth while fighting for her own life in a coma.
Fuck.
So this lady had been put into a coma after the novel coronavirus left her lungs barely able to function. Jesus, the doctors performed a cesarean section on her, and due to her lungs condition, her son Jefferson was born 14 weeks premature, and but he's reported he's
healthy.
He's healthy.
What about corona? If he's got the corona,
it doesn't mention it. To be honest, it just basically
he might even be the answer to the. He might be the cure to the answer. You know what I mean?
Jefferson,
you never know.
Super kid got the cure for coronavirus. Well, do you know what? He might do, and let's hope he does.
Yeah, it'd be good if he does end up being.
I wonder if anyone's thought of that, but see what happens. I think that we're on the road for a couple of different. Vaccines now.
Well, look, there's 120 plus countries doing vaccines, and there's a lot of human experiments at the minute now. There's about 13 human
I
experiments.
know, yeah.
At the moment
It's like
around the world.
brave people for putting themselves forward.
Definitely.
Because you don't know what's going to happen or what the side effects are going to be.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if someone said, "Do you want to volunteer?" I'd be like, "Hell no."
Yeah.
But again, it's like if you had it and you were kind of,
yeah,
you know, you may as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you had it, definitely it'd be a case of all right then.
Yeah. Well,
why
there
not?
you go. We'll check up and see if we've got any more coming up on that one.
Well, there's one in Spain where actually the Spain have come out that they did tests on sewage works from last summer, and it turned out that corona was actually in the sewage works at that time.
Well,
so
but
corona
that makes
was
sense.
already brought out beforehand. That makes sense for that bad flu that come round first, and everyone were dying
they
with it.
reckon everybody that's what it was, didn't they?
Yeah.
They came out and said that actually we believe that it was actually a lot sooner. It arrived here a lot quicker than we said. Yeah. And I remember in November there was people walking around coughing and spluttering like mad. It was like, you know, for every 2 people in the street, you know, for every 5 people in the street, 3 or 4 of them were ill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even at the beginning of the year, I felt like there was something going on in terms of flu season. And, and but it wasn't a panic then. It was like everyone was like, it's just flu. Do
you know what? I was surprised I didn't get. I was one of the latest ones to get it. To be honest.
Do you think you had it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that bad flu that we had that the end of the year, it was. And
maybe
from
it was
the Christmas time, from the summertime. I think that was actually the first wave.
I just actually I'm interested to find out. I mean, if you're a partaker in the 420, and you know people around you are as well. Have you had any symptoms, or do you think that you've regained more health because you partake in that? Let us know. We'd be interested to find out.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it for the news this week.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've got any questions, you want to get involved, or get involved with any of the segments, all you need to do is get in touch with us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. Sorry, or go to the website at neverstraightanswer.co.uk, and you can hit us up on there. Alternatively, we're on Twitter at NASA_never, Instagram at neverstraightanswer. And just get in touch. We're lovely to talk to you. We'll talk to you. We've got some shout outs this week. Just need to get them up.
Here we go.
Got a fair few, to be honest.
We have.
Well, first of all, we've got Patreon shout outs.
Definitely.
We've got to give rounds of applause to.
Yeah.
Big J sleeping in the corner.
Yes, Jay.
Hey. Then we've got Swoosh. Big shout out to Swoosh.
Good Swoosh, yeah. Swoosh. Yeah, playing with you.
Hey, big Swoosh. Bit of Dunk.
Dunk, yeah. Training his cat to be a ninja.
Oh, yeah, Ninja Kitty.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Jesse G, thanks for your support.
Yes, Jesse. I hope everything's going fine over there at the moment.
Couldn't do without you.
Yeah,
thanks to all our Patreons. If you want to become a Patreon yourself, get over to patreon.com, Never a Straight Answer, and sign up to one of our tiers. There's some extra bits and pieces there for your delights. And always, just do it. Just do it.
Do it now. Forget what you're doing now. Drop everything and just do it.
Also, if you go to the website, you can donate via PayPal.
You can.
Or Patreon through the link there.
Yeah.
But shout-outs, we've got some plugs and stuff for people who are doing creative projects, podcasts of their own, and they've got in touch rather because, we've asked them to, or they just wanted to.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find it now.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're unprepared.
Well, yeah.
Terrible. Shout-out.
Terrible, boy.
Right, yeah. So they're going to kill me because I always get the names wrong. Right, Gareth. Big
shout
out
to
Gareth.
Go for it, Gareth, man.
Back on the road next week.
Sweet.
Hopefully catch up with you guys. So we really appreciate a shout out. You're welcome. You're getting one. Big shout out to Mr. Shirley Crabtree.
Yes, Shirley.
Thanks for listening, dude.
Yeah, man.
Badoosh.
Yeah,
shout out to Susie and Chris.
Yes.
Don't forget my shout out. I always give you a shout out.
Yeah.
Big shout out to they're going to kill me because I always get the name wrong. The WTFAcom gaming podcast.
Gaming podcast.
Yeah, they do gaming podcast for people who hate gaming podcasts. hosted by Dan and Nick. It's a great show. Go and check it out. It's spelled WTF AECOM. I think it's the old Nintendo.
Right, I see.
Big shout out to Arjun from Deep in History.
Yes, Arjun.
Big shout out to Jess and Jen from the Not So Minnesota Nice
yes,
podcast.
Girls.
Big shout out to Nick from the Tennish podcast.
Yes.
The Geekdom Fancast podcast. Big shout out to you guys. Who else have we got? I think that's about it. Big shout out to EJ. Big shout out to Jake for joining us in the studio today.
Yes, nice and quiet in the corner there. Like, good boy.
Who else? Big shout out to John and James and anyone else who's listening. Thank you for all your support. Cheers for coming back to and listening to us. And we'll probably catch you next week. Is there anything I'm missing? We're available on all podcast platforms. Oh wait, am I missing something?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. This is because we don't do fucking other segments.
This has got a new section in it.
Oh right, will we do it? Have you got all your information?
We could do it next week.
All right then. Well, next week we'll be doing a new segment.
Yeah.
Which is.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Taylor's going to get his gears ground and tell you about shit that pissed him off this week.
Fucking amazing stuff that was dropped down.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. Well, he's going to get a bit more info on it, and he's going to get back to you next week.
Yeah.
But I think that's it. I think that's a good show for this week.
Yeah.
What do you reckon about precognition, Dejavu, glitches in the Matrix? Let us know in the comments. Other than that, that's it. This is it. We're signing off. We're going to go fishing.
We are.
Take it easy, people. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Right, boys, get your rods. Let's go fishing. Get some trout.